morning, everyone. Rick Soukoulis here. I want to do a little bit of mortgage math, but I want to start out with a quote from J. Paul Getty, and it goes something like this, paraphrase. In times of change, experience is your worst enemy. So you've been doing things in this industry the same way for a number of years now. It's not the way it's always been done, but post-crash, post-2008, we've done things a certain way, and that's all getting thrown up on its head because guess what? The refinance market, I'm just going to say it, because it makes this video a little easier, is not going to be there for the rest of the year or the foreseeable future, and it's really not a good bet to think it's going to come back or it's going to dip. It's not a strategy. But I wanted to show you first how interest rates sort of move so you can have a base level conversation with folks about it. And here's how things are set. The Fed sets the rate. That's overnight borrowing. How much can you get money from the Fed if you're a bank? It's currently at 0.5. The Fed's already told the market they're going to move at the end of the month. They said a quarter to a half. The market's already built in a half because the Fed says by the end of the year that it wants to be at 2%. So how does that affect or cascade or work its way to interest rates? And I'm going to do this real quickly. So the number one highest quality credit instrument that you can buy if you want to invest your money is a treasury bill. And the 10 years is what benchmarks interest rates for mortgages. Proxy, okay? Don't get all purist on me. So that on Friday was at 271. So the spread, if you will, from 271 to 50 is 2.25, which means the difference between what the Fed's borrowing rate was and what the Treasury was issuing it at was about a 2.25% difference. Same thing happens down when you get to interest rates. Now I go to the number two quality instrument that a person can invest in. Think about investing, not borrowing money. That's a mortgage-backed security. That spread or that difference of Treasury bills was 2 1/8. So I get paid an extra 2 1/8. Now that number is not static. That number is driven by supply and demand. And you'll start to hear wide and tight and things like this, right? Coming into your vocabulary. So the range is generally 1.5 to 2.5% between Fed funds rate and T-bill rates. And of course, it can be wider than that, higher or tighter. But generally, when the market's working efficiently and you've got the right supply and the right demand matched up, you're going to be on this lower end of the range. So right now, you've got the Fed that just pulled out a tapering, so we're wide over here on both sides. So that pushes rates up a little bit. But we already know we got a change coming, so it's baked into the market. So I wouldn't look for anything big to happen at the end of the month when the Fed moves the Federal Reserve rate up. But I would look at if they plan on, so let's just say this is already plus a half, so this is really 1%, right, baked in. What's going to happen at the end of the month, or by the end of the year when they get to their goal, which is 2%. That's where they want to be. They're at 1, they want to be to 2. Well, it's going to cascade through. So this morning I looked on ReadyPrice, 4 7/8, no points, no fee to a consumer, which is what everybody's been selling for years, is 4 7/8. Well, guess what? Let's just be easy here. 4.875. And if the spreads tighten up, that could go down. But you're north of 5%, could be in the 6s, throughout the year. And so we know where we're headed. So what am I going to do about it? And here's where that old saying by Getty, in times of change, experience is your worst enemy. You need to change everything that you're thinking about. So where are you going to get the information? How about from some people who've been through that market before? How about the folks over at Loan Depot, Anthony Shea and that group? He's been through lots of different cycles. He had an online company that was owned in part by E-Trade during the crash, went and fished for a few years, came back and built Loan Depot. Probably a pretty good guy to listen to. Doug Jones over at PayMac built Countrywide, real talented group of people. There are people who have lived through these markets that are coming out with products and services in the next 6 months that you listen really closely to. And a lot of those people are on our system. The folks over at PRMG, also fantastic, been through this kind of a market before. Look for people who have done this before and know their way through the maze. Anyway, hey, that's the math. That's how it works. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me.